Roll.
There you go.
Got it. All
Here
right.
we are.
Taxi Driver is a 1976 film directed by Martin Scorsese, written by Paul Schrader, and it stars Robert De Niro, Cybill Shepherd, Harvey Keitel, Peter Boyle, Leonard Harris, and Albert Brooks. The score was done by a guy by the name of Bernard Herrmann. Anybody ever hear of him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got quite a filmography. Vertigo, The Man Who Knew Too Much, Psycho,
Oh, really?
Citizen Kane, The Day the Earth Stood Still. He actually finished the Taxi Driver score several hours before he died, and the film was dedicated to him. He's an Academy Award winning composer, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
The budget was 1.9 million for this, and Scorsese had to get all the actors to agree to take cuts for that, including himself. And it grossed 28.3 million in the United States. As far as awards, Scorsese was given the Palme d'Or at Cannes, and there were 4 nominations at the 49th Academy Awards, but none of them won. Got nominated for Best Picture, Best Actor for De Niro, Best Supporting Actress for Jodie Foster, who was then 12 years old when she played in this part.
Jeez.
And then Best Original Score by Herrmann. And what I'd like to do with you guys tonight is critics consider Taxi Driver to be one of the greatest films ever made. Do you agree or do you not agree? And where that takes us. So anybody feel like jumping off first?
Hey, Sanders, I got a question for you before we dive into this. I read the same thing that a lot of these folks took, did not, get lavish salaries for this thing. Was that because mainly they were new, or was there some other driving factor behind it?
Yeah, I had that same question. Was this like I know he did Mean Streets before this, didn't he, Mike?
Yeah, he did Mean Streets. He had done Mean Streets and Heat before he did this one.
Okay. Because it must have been, I couldn't figure out why, why did they have to why wasn't he given more money? He did Mean Streets, and that did pretty well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess he had trouble financing it. I don't know. That's the best budget he could come up with from the people who chose to produce it. And even he only got like $50,000 for doing it.
Yeah.
Cybill Shepherd got like 35, and I don't know what De Niro got, but they all agreed to do it because they knew him, and they were all New York kind of people. I mean, it was a New York production. Scorsese's a New York kind of guy whenever he's done Goodfellas and stuff like that. Scenes. So,
did you see in the credits that he had a cameo part in the movie?
Twice.
And twice. I didn't realize it was twice.
Well, he was in the back of a taxi.
Right.
And then at the very end, I'm sorry. I just watched Killers of the Flower Moon, and he did a cameo in that too. I'm sorry. No, you're right. It's only once.
Okay.
Was he in there once? Was he in once in the cab?
Yeah, he was the guy that was fantasizing about killing his wife because she was having an affair, and they pulled up in front of the apartment window.
Yeah.
That was Martin Scorsese, huh?
Yeah, he was sitting in the back seat. Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
And then, I don't know if he did that because he wanted to be in the movie, or he would have to pay somebody to do that. That was another thing.
It could be. It's got to be his ego, because like Hitchcock, because he was in the, Flower Moon, and he's getting millions and millions for that. And he had a cameo in that too. So I think it's his ego. He just wants, to, like Hitchcock, wants to take a little part in it.
Yeah, no, Hitchcock, I always had fun looking for him. And he's always in like the first 3 to 5 minutes too.
Yeah, usually, yeah.
Hey, well, if you're going to be immortalizing other people, why not immortalize yourself too? I mean, your image go down. You not only are in the thing, but you made the thing.
Yeah.
Did you start to say something, Bill?
No, well, I was curious if he'd been in other films that he'd done. I mean, I saw Flower Moon. I know he was into that, but I don't recall seeing him in any of his other pictures.
That's a good
I don't know.
point.
That's a good one to look up. I don't know if
Yeah.
Mr. Google would know that or not. Make a great
I
trivia
felt like
question.
that the cameo in the taxi cab was pretty long segment. Actually, they sat there and looked out the window, and you know, he threw out his epithets, and he kind of planted the idea of a 44 Magnum in the head of the taxi driver, and it was it had carried some weight.
Yeah, it did.
I thought they would come back to it. I thought it would be something that they would come back to. Didn't he ask him to go up there or something? It was like he was going to have De Niro shoot the guy. But I don't think they came back to that.
No, I don't think they did.
No.
So anyway, I think it's one of the greatest films ever made. What do you guys think?
Well, how many greatest films are there to choose from? 10, 20, 50, 80,
No,
100,
actually,
1,000? You know, I'd have to see where on what it's up against to make that.
It came in number 29 out of 200.
Huh.
And always Citizen Kane is at the top of that list. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I love Citizen Kane. I'm probably the female perspective here. It was so dark. I mean, I know Scorsese. I kind of did this Scorsese thing. So with Flower Moon as well as Taxi Driver, just that dark underbelly of the city that nobody really gets to see. But he's, that's his world, and it kind of makes me kind of go, just makes me feel diminished or small or something that, and again, this might be a female thing. I find it I thought it was interesting, and but it's so dark, and it's so and especially that time, it was just, I kept on looking at little Jodie Foster, 12 years old, and this all that text around her was so bleak and dark, and what 12-year-old now knows all that stuff. It just seemed like it was just so dark, and I couldn't, for me, it would not be one of my favorites. But again, that might be more of a female thing. I like Citizen Kane. I like, there's lots of Casablanca. There's lots of movies that I like, but it might be more, maybe a little more upbeat, I guess.
Well, yeah, with regard to, the landscape there, I mean, that was probably not difficult to do in New York in the mid 1970s, because the place was a shithole. And I mean, Ford told him to go ahead and go bankrupt. That was the same time the Son of Sam, all sorts of stuff.
Yes.
Going on.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, it was not a pleasant place to be at all. I don't know. I thought it was a really good movie. I've always heard that some people regard Chinatown now as a better movie than Citizen Kane. I think that's a darn good movie, and I thought this was really, really well done. But like you say, Donnie, it's dark. It's tough to watch. It was shot dark, and I heard that something that I read was that in order to avoid an X rating, when they pushed the film out, Scorsese cut back on the color. I'm trying that
he desaturated the color.
Yeah, thank you. So it wasn't quite as vibrant, and it wasn't, and it got an R rating rather than an X, which I didn't know, but I thought.
Are you talking about language, or are you talking about the actual color?
The actual color of the film.
And why would the color have such what would they have to do with the ratings?
Well, when they were looking at it, they said, we can take a lot of this stuff, but we can't take all the shooting at the end. It's just too graphic.
Oh, I see what you mean. I see. I got it.
Too graphic of violence, and so he toned it down.
Graphic. Okay, yeah, I get it. Graphic violence. I thought you meant just the actual darkness of the shooting of it. You know, all the night. Okay, I get it.
And then to back up a little bit from what Mahoney was talking about at that time, Paul Schrader was on, I think, some talk show, and he said that he went to New York around this time, but when he was given the opportunity to write the screenplay, and he said that he couldn't sleep. He was an insomniac. He walked the streets at night, and he said all Times Square was back then was porno movies and hookers, you know, and that's pretty much the way he wrote it into the script. He said he did the initial script in like 2 weeks because it was all right there, just laying out in front of him, stuff that Scorsese was looking for. So,
ask a question because you guys would probably know better than I. You know, I haven't been to New York when I have a choice to go to New York or Chicago, I always pick Chicago because I know Chicago. So, the theater district, were the theaters there along with the porno and the?
Because well, the theater district is like Midtown, and that's not where.
It's not.
What
that's not Times Square. That's not
Times Square, right? Disney is not there.
Okay, good.
Disney's at Times Square now, and they've cleaned it all up. But the theater district is farther down. It's like
okay. And even back then, it was just farther away.
Right.
Because I think there was like two worlds. It would seem to me there's got to be two worlds. This world that he was in, that's awful and dark and porno and all that, and then there's got to be another world where you know the restaurants and the theater and all that, and you know. So
yeah, but in general, Manhattan was supposedly just a pretty dark, dire place in general in the 70s.
Yeah.
I would guess that one of the things that makes this film go up higher on the list of best pictures is the way it ended. You know, I stopped it like halfway through and went downstairs. I was talking to my son and I said, "Have you seen this movie before?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Did you like it?" And he goes, "I don't really remember, but it was dark." And I just thought, you know what? It's going to have a dark ending, and that's going to kind of ruin it. And it was dark for sure with the murders and all that. But then again, De Niro came out somewhat of a hero.
Yeah.
Right. They went from anti-hero to hero in that last.
Yeah.
And even the very final scene where Cybill Shepherd gets into the car, it's kind of like she's hitting on him, and he won all the way around. I mean, so it was an interesting ending to a violent, dark movie. And I'm sure that has led a lot of critics to say this is one of the 10 best films ever. You know, it could have ended just differently.
Just walked away from all the people laying dead, and that would have been it, you know.
And you would say it's just 70 films.
Well, to that end, I'm of the opinion that last scene with Cybill Shepherd jumping into the cab and everything is a dying dream of Travis Bickle. And that wide shot of the city street where they pull back from the door of the scene of the shooting, and people are all around, and medics are coming in. That's the end of the movie because Travis Bickle is dead. Remember at the end when the cops were drawn on him, he went up and went like this a couple of times. I think, I can be totally off, but I'm not the only person who thinks this, is that last scene is, you know, his dying dream. You know, he gets a chance to see Betsy one more time, and it's on his terms, and he says no thanks, and moves on. So, you know, in his dying,
and he saved Jodie Foster too.
Right.
Right.
Got a letter from their parents.
That makes more sense.
And the whole thing Yeah, and the whole thing about the letter from his Jodie Foster's parents, and we can't thank you enough, and all that sort of stuff is in his head.
Yeah, yeah. I think.
Well, that's a good observation, Mike. I forgot to mention that Scorsese wanted it to start, and that's why he chose this composer, Bernard Herrmann. He told Herrmann he wants it to feel like a dream, and you see a lot of shots of the cab coming out of the fog, and the music goes and it ramps up a little bit, and then he does it again. And so Herrmann wrote the score as if it was a dream. So you don't know where the dream ends, but that's a very good point.
Yeah, that is a good point. It's like it's like you see him just moving into madness, just recognizing. And
Pete's got that picture where he's got the mohawk.
Yeah.
First, Gary Whitaker, when we need to talk about the arc of
the arc of the character. That's right. But we all can kind of see this arc. It's a downward arc, but it's an arc.
The arc of his dream,
Yeah.
He started out wanting to clean up the streets of New York. But, anybody else? Michael Madsen, haven't heard from you. What do you think?
Don't know. I didn't see it this go around. I saw it years ago, many years ago. It's a hard movie to watch.
It is.
Yeah, it is. After a while, it gets pretty intense.
It kind of beats you down until you, I guess, assume he's saving Jodie Foster.
Yeah.
I was thinking when we start our meetings, we need to do it by opening up with the best line that came from it. I mean, I think last week was something about Sam, the kid, the ball player kid. This one is, you looking at me?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Oh, well, yeah.
You looking at me?
Yeah.
You looking at me?
And so
that was all ad lib, wasn't it, Mike? Wasn't that all ad lib?
I think so. I don't really know. But I know that became a catchphrase from that movie. I mean, that's where it comes from.
I think I either read or I saw Scorsese talking about just letting De Niro, go with it. And I believe it was that a whole section is all ad lib. So,
Mike, did you say it was a book made into a screenplay?
No, I don't think it was. It was an original screenplay. By Paul Schrader.
What else has Schrader done, Mike? Do you know?
I don't have a list in front of me, but I bet Bill could do that with his with Mr. Google.
No, I'm on one computer now.
So when Mike was deciding what movie to watch, he thought of several, and they all had handguns in him. And then he go, well, shit, back to Taxi Cab. The one guy has 6 handguns, and there's 6 other people in the gunfight, man. And they're all having handguns. It's like, yeah, that's the perfect one. I enjoyed it. That was cool. I like the way he practicing in front of the mirror, and then a sliding thing out of his hand, and
I know,
stuck them all over his body and everything.
You were talking about Jodie Foster being so young. I just finished watching the HBO True Detective series.
I did too. Yeah.
Good.
And she was great in that.
Yeah, she was.
She's a great actress, but I mean,
she is.
It was interesting to compare and contrast those roles, when she's older and wiser and when she was younger. She still had that spunk from when she was younger.
Well, the other thing to remember is that John Hinckley was infatuated with Foster and wanted to impress her by trying to gun down Reagan. And then the other thing I read was that part of the hero worship with this was the fact that a woman by the name of Squeaky Fromm tried to assassinate Jerry Ford, and she made the cover of Newsweek. And so there were, there was sort of a thread under this thing about fame and villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, when Taxi Driver made it to television, the television folks put a black screen up and said, this film has been accused of, causing some trouble with Hinckley, and I don't know if they gave it specifics, but they said that this is to be viewed by itself for what it is, and it has nothing to do with these other events. And that was just kind of their way of trying to disclaim that and not take any heat for it. But a lot of critics gave him that, Mahoney, and a lot of critics said, you may have given John Hinckley everything he needed to do what he wanted to do, because he was, De Niro was getting ready to assassinate the candidate here.
Yeah, right.
And then the Secret Service guy had seen him before, and then when he came back with his
Mohawk. What happened?
We've lost him.
Do we have you, Mike?
Yeah, I'm there.
Oh, okay.
What was I saying? Oh, yeah. They had this.
Yeah, and I also think just because I'm into this, I think it was De Niro may have read Arthur Bremer's diary before shooting this, and Arthur Bremer was the guy that shot and wounded and paralyzed George Wallace in 1972.
Oh, interesting.
I remember reading that. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's got a lot of politics involved in it too, and it makes I think it makes for a good part of the story where you've got Albert Brooks in there, you've got Cybill Shepherd in there working for the candidate.
Right.
He wants to join in somehow. What can I do?
Yeah, that's when he tries to be the nice guy. Wrong.
To me, it seemed like De Niro had a compounding frustration with the world he was living in. He was fairly naive at the start, it seemed like, and he became acquainted with Cybill Shepherd's character and was shut down by her. Things just got worse and worse for him. He got angrier and angrier. So he knew what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to kill this candidate, but when that didn't happen, that rage didn't go away. He just, now he wanted to turn it to something else. And I think it was interesting that he chose trying to liberate Jodie Foster's character from these nasty guys as his ventilation for doing that. At least that's kind of the take that I got from it. He had this built up in him, and he was so hot that he just had to let it go.
Yeah, he was so frustrated. Yeah. Yeah.
Pete, what do you think?
Well, I watched it again today. I mean, I probably watched it more than once. Last time had to be 15, 20 years ago, perhaps. I didn't enjoy it as much this time. I almost kind of agree with Mr. Mattson on that. It just, maybe I just wasn't in a frame of mind to be receptive. I have no problem with shoot 'em ups. I love movies that take place in New York City. I really do. I just maybe I wasn't feeling it today on that. And it just kind of went on and on. I know he was doing it. He was declining and he was deteriorating. That's a great observation by Mike Mahoney. The dream thing hadn't even occurred to me, but there's no way in hell he survives that barrage of gunfire in the hotel.
Right.
That makes perfect sense. I was looking up while I was watching. I was looking up the ages of the actors when they were making the movie. Jodie Foster was actually 16 when she made it. Harvey Keitel was 37. I felt very uncomfortable in the scene where they're dancing around in her apartment or his apartment. I got very that really grotesque to me. De Niro was 23, by the way, in that movie. When he went to buy the guns from the guy in his hotel room and he pulls out the 44 Magnum, I was thinking of the line that John Travolta has in Pulp Fiction where he refers to one of these guns as a hand cannon because that's what that thing was. He clearly, a couple other things that occurred to me when he was writing the letter to his mom and dad or a card or something. I was kind of curious. I wonder where this guy grew up. We don't know where he came from. clearly he didn't know how to read women, that he would take a woman who was working in a presidential campaign in Manhattan to a porn movie. He
Right.
somebody gave him some bad advice, bad dating advice on that one there. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it for what it is and its legacy in film history, but I didn't really enjoy the movie today. And that's not to say I didn't enjoy it before, but I didn't feel it today. But I watched it. So there you go.
That was pretty weird that he went to the porno house with her and didn't realize he was doing the wrong thing.
I know. Yeah.
What was he thinking?
But that's his whole world. He probably saw couples going in there and thought, oh, well, that's what you do. Oh, geez. Yeah. You know what I thought? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, just real quickly, in the background of that scene when they were at the ticket booth and everything, you could see other couples, and there were, so I'm with Pete on that. It's a dumb dating choice as far as I'm concerned, but I don't know.
That might have been a date on your 10th date. Certainly not the first date.
Yeah, but not your first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you though, there was a time, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but they started showing X-rated movies in regular movie theaters. When I was in Columbia, I went to the Columbia Mall and I saw Debbie Does Dallas on the
Oh yeah, they were
really
showing it.
I don't remember that.
on the marquee. Yeah, no,
I don't remember that in Columbia.
At the mall.
it was on the
Maybe
marquee. I'm telling
maybe
you.
down on Broadway. But really at the
There you
mall?
go.
Yeah, I think Columbia had a dirty movie house. I think.
Yeah, it
It
did.
did.
What was the
It's over near the Tribune.
Well,
Yeah,
we
what
had
was
the
it?
superb venue, the Old Chelsea Theater in the River Market, for
So it
those
got
that were
blown
into
up?
that genre.
Yeah.
Was
And
it called
Folly.
the old Untheater?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
Or
was
that
that?
just flew in from somewhere. I don't know. I didn't ever go there.
Uh-oh, the confessions come
Where was
out.
that,
Yeah.
Jeff?
I'm trying to think of the movie that kind of was, Deep Throat. There's one
Oh
where
yeah. Yeah.
people started, they got interested in that and they heard about it on the Dick Cavett show or whatever, and they were toying with the idea and all that sort of thing.
That was a
Yeah,
classic.
I don't remember Debbie Does Dallas in a straight Columbia theater. That
Well, maybe I was a little too high that night. I don't know.
maybe the old Untheater was looking like the Columbia Mall for you that night.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Wasn't that up on 10th Street?
The
Yeah,
dirty
it was-
movie theater. I don't remember
I
where
don't
it was.
remember.
It was
I
pretty
do
close to the
remember-
Tribune.
I do remember at the
Okay.
Columbia Mall going to see Fritz the Cat, the only
Oh,
X-rated
yes.
cartoon ever.
That
And I
was
don't know
that
if any of you guys
X-rated
were with me, but we took
cartoon.
over, like a bunch of us had we started out with the brownies and ended up on the second row or something like that. And I just laughed all the way through that.
Well, Midnight Cowboy was X-rated, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. See, that's
So
sort of
maybe
thing with-
that's what you're thinking, Mike.
it's that era. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Debbie Does Dallas at Midnight. Is that what it was? No.
I don't think so.
I heard 10 in the morning too, but that's a whole other story.
That was the sequel.
I'm here all week.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. I think we've kind of beat this horse to death. What do you think?
Well, I did want to, there was I really liked seeing Peter Boyle again.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's kind of remind me. In fact, I'll probably make this my add-on movie for next week. Joe, I can remember going to the theater probably with Mike, drive-in to see Joe one night, and it was like Peter Boyle was like the star of that movie, and it was like a breakout role. Then a few years later, I heard that Peter Boyle was like really good friends with John Lennon, and I'm going, you got to be kidding me, But I always thought Peter Boyle was an interesting character. He ended up being Frankenstein and
Young Frankenstein.
Young
Frankenstein, yeah.
And then he was really good in that sitcom on TV with
Everybody Loves Raymond.
Everybody Loves Raymond.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah, he was so good.
He's
just all around.
I remember seeing Joe in the theaters, and I remember that being a pretty risque movie at the time too. It wasn't raunchy, but it was a dark movie.
What was it about? He was
a super redneck that may have had a daughter or somebody that got into the counterculture lifestyle and he was a real redneck in it, and then turned out that his personal politics were quite liberal. So
you've also got Carnal Knowledge. That was one that was
that's right.
Pretty common back then, and
someday
maybe somebody should pick that one. It's a good Nicholson movie, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, next week is going to be Terry, right?
Yes.
Normally it would be Whitaker, but he's somewhere in the Asian Pacific. I don't know where, but we won't see him for a while.
He's in the Outback.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's right.
Joni finally got to pet a kangaroo. So, Terry, what do you got for
5:37. Let's do the recommendations before I announce next week's feature.
Well, normally we announce the next week's feature, then we do the recommendations.
But it's only okay.
But it doesn't. It doesn't matter. I mean, if you want to, all right, Bill, what's your recommendation?
Well, I guess I'm going to throw out Joe. I will say tell you that I saw Poor Things this week.
What'd you think?
I liked it in a strange kind of way. It's an interesting movie. Has anybody else seen that movie yet?
I haven't seen it yet.
It's it's kind of a female Frankenstein sort of thing. Emma Stone is created by her father, who he's more of a it's Willem Dafoe plays the father, and he's more of a Frankenstein than she is, but his character becomes a great surgeon, and he creates her out of the mother dies, and she's pregnant, and she takes the baby's brain out of the mother. It takes the baby's brain out of the baby and puts it in the mother's head. So Emma Stone is recreated all over again with her baby's brain, and it's weird, and it's Frankensteinish, but it's got some really interesting overtones. A little bit, maybe like this movie we saw. I mean, just weird. Mostly all women's perspective kind of things, but men can reflect on them too. But I don't know. I think it has a shot to win the Best Picture.
Wow.
So was the brain in a jar marked Abby Normal?
Back to Peter Boyle now.
Yeah.
No, but there's plenty of stuff like that in there.
Wow.
Any other recommendations?
Well, I watched The Woman in the Wall, and it's about the I believe it's fiction, but it's of course it's fiction, but it's about the Madeline laundry in Ireland. So it's got some it's kind of tough. Let me put it that way. It's kind of tough to take, but what the laundries did to those poor women. So I'm guessing that it's kind of like a historical fiction kind of thing. But it was good. It was good.
Where's that streaming?
Good question, Mike. I should write these down and I don't. I'm pretty sure it's Netflix. It's got to be Netflix or Prime. That's all I really have, and PBS are really those three that I watch a lot. Okay. There's another one called Monsieur Spade, which it's Sam Spade, and he goes to France after Maltese Falcon, kind of. It's kind of weird. I haven't really gotten into it yet, but it's just the premise is so strange, Sam Spade in France. I don't know. So it's called Monsieur Spade.
I've looked at one or maybe two of those and haven't bit on it yet. It hasn't got the bug to me. So
yeah, that's kind of what I just the ideas. Come on, either be Sam or be a French detective. I would take Lupin. You've seen Lupin, I'm sure, most of you. If you haven't, that's a really good one. But it's a series. It's not a movie. It's a series. But it's Lupin, and that's very good. That's my recommendations.
Anybody else?
I watched a movie. I think it's called. You know how great I am with movie names.
Oh boy.
And it could be seen anywhere. Mr. Miller's Girl or something like that. I think it's pretty new, and I'm looking up to see if I can find out where it is.
But you can't because it's not the name of the movie.
Yeah, that's making it hard.
Part. Yeah.
Anyway, it's a story about a precocious young girl who lives in sort of a haunted mansion type arrangement, and she has a gift for writing. She's kind of introspective, and an English teacher in the local school, and the relationship that occurs between them. And it's also a little on the dark side.
Is that a movie or a series?
It's a movie, I believe.
Okay.
So I will later find out what it's actually called and publish that to everybody.
Ask your wife.
I will endorse Mr. Sanders' recommendation. If it was a recommendation, the True Detective was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
It just ended last night. This is not a recommendation. This is perhaps a humorous anecdote when we were talking about porno movies. When I was in high school, and Mike has met a lot of the guys I grew up with, Mr. Mahoney, but a bunch of us went to the Follies when they still had live nude entertainment plus movies, and about 10 of us went to see this performer named Busty Russell.
No.
And she had a 76-inch chest. And my brother and I got an autographed picture, like she autographed it to both of us, but on the same picture. So we came home and we hid it in our closet, like between some books and stuff. And then periodically we get it out and look at it. And one time we came home and pulled out the picture to look at it. And where the picture was, my mother had removed the picture and put in a pamphlet about the life of Christ and put it in there. And we never asked her what happened to the picture. Like, nobody ever spoke of that picture again.
Oh my gosh, that's hysterical.
The woman no one ever spoke of again. That sounds like a movie title.
What a great story.
Yeah.
That is. Oh, that's wonderful.
Or a band name. The woman no one spoke of ever again.
It was like the world's worst hiding place too. We'll start with that. My mom probably knew every square inch of our bedroom and every nook and cranny. So that was easy pickings for her.
Oh my God.
You're probably glad both names were on it instead of just one.
Yeah.
We had to take the fall by ourselves.
I thought you were going to tell me you cut the picture in half or something there for a second. You could have
probably
that's hysterical. Well, they were big enough to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Matson, you got anything for us? No?
Who'd you say?
Mr. Matson, have any recommendations?
I've been on the road. I can't stream anything.
Okay.
I just got
it is called, formally it's called Miller's Girl, and it's on Netflix, and you have to rent it.
Okay.
You have to rent it if it's on Netflix?
On Netflix?
Yeah. Yeah.
They got
you have to
They got
rent
Poor
it on
Things.
Netflix.
Poor Things is $20, I think.
Yeah, some of those
No,
are.
I'm sorry. Prime. I'm sorry.
Okay,
It's on Prime.
Come to me for the definitive information.
All right, I want to go along with Pete's recommendation and my recommendation, which True Detective, I thought the first one was one of the best.
I agree.
And then now I think this one meets up to the first one's, so whatever that the bar that they set. Some of them weren't so good in the middle, but this one is just builds on you, and it's set in Alaska where it's all about the night. The sun goes down and then it doesn't come back up for another 6 months, and then that's when all the weirdness takes over.
Yeah.
Good.
Now,
another
do you
one.
binge these? That's why I'm so afraid to start watching, because I get caught up and I don't want to turn it off. I have been up till 2 and 3 and 4 in the morning just watching a series. So I've been trying to hold off on series for that reason. But
yeah, I know. And this was one of those, they dribbled it out too. You had to wait each week for it to come out.
oh,
Now it's all out. So you could
It's
go
all
ahead and
out.
get into it if you want to.
oh, so I'll probably be up till 4 in the morning tonight.
I recommended it to my sister Margaret, and she yelled at me because she was up till 3 finishing.
Yeah, that you get caught up and you can't, when you know that you need to know the answer and it's there, how can you turn it off?
And then another one I'd like to throw out is called Showing Up. And
Showing
this is
Up?
Showing Up. And it's Kelly Reichardt is a female director who I really like. She does a lot of small independent type things. And she uses Michelle Williams, and she stars in this. She stars as an artist who's getting ready for a show. And that's all it is. It's not a big movie. It's just one of those that kind of gets you, and you when it's over, you go, wow, that wasn't bad. So I like Michelle Williams too. So
I do too.
If anybody's interested in that sort of thing, that's the only other one I have.
Anybody have any dates for when the bear returns?
No, I don't. I haven't heard anything about that. Are they getting a third season?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it'll probably be sometime this spring, or it'll be during a rating period. Rating periods are in February, May, and November. So I would say one of those.
Mike, I just looked on IMDb. It says season 3 premiered June 2024.
There you go.
Oh.
So right in between rating seasons.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
Or that might be May's months.
Well, technically, there's a July book too, but
yeah, those are the important ones anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I highly recommend The Bear, and anybody that hasn't seen season 2, episode 6, The Fishes, should go look at that before they watch a new season, because that's just a killer.
But don't start there.
Right.
I don't think. I think you need some background.
Yeah.
That's true.
I love
that was more of a flashback of all the background that had been laid.
Yeah.
So you kind of do need that first season to get you set up.
There was a show and I watched it. So you got The Bear, which is about beef, and then there was a series called Beef, which had nothing to do with beef.
Or bears.
Yeah, or bears. So it was like, what? But that was also a good, I mean, I love The Bear. And Beef was also good too. Interesting.
I got hooked on that one too. I had to watch all of Beef.
Yeah, that's the kicker. Oh, you get.
I'm enjoying Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh yeah, that's.
I've been there last season. Yeah.
Pardon me? Yeah.
Did you watch the third? Did you watch the third one last night, Pete?
I did. It's hilarious. Yeah.
I mean, they even worked Wordle in there. I play Wordle, so I got that. That was pretty good.
Yeah. What's not to like about him? He's so good or so bad.
Did you guys see where he attacked Elmo on the Today Show?
Yeah, I saw that.
He what?
He was supposed to be on the Today Show, but they had Elmo on like first for some reason. I don't know why. But Hoda and what's her name were sitting there, and then he just walked off where he was. They had him in a green room or something like that. And he just walked up and started choking Elmo on live television. It was hilarious.
That's appropriate. That's his character for sure.
But he had to apologize later. He He said, I'm sorry, I didn't realize so many kids were watching at that time.
Oh, yeah, that's probably trauma.
Right. So anyway, only Larry David would do that, you know, of all the people I know who would attack Elmo, he would be it.
So
Mahoney,
did we make it to the pick yet?
Well, I was going to see if Mahoney wanted to make a recommendation.
No, I don't have anything.
Okay, all right. So I think it's Terry's turn.
Yay.
Okay, it's on Netflix. I'm not, no. YouTube, I know for sure. So maybe on some of the other ones. 1953, which is a year I think means something to many of us here. Yeah, Marilyn Monroe, Niagara.
Oh,
and it's colorized, I believe it said in the ad. So they made it in black and white, but then colorized. And Joseph Cotton is probably Korea War vet who's realizing that marrying a bombshell wife was probably not exactly the right move to make. So I'll leave it at that. They're, you know, of course, they're on honeymoon at Niagara Falls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's only like an hour and a half, hour and 28 minutes long. But it's fun.
great flick.
And a lot of times I picked it because I'm ready to watch it again myself. So.
Oh yeah, that is good.
That's why it made the.
Yeah, when you're talking about Marilyn Monroe and William Cotton maybe biting off more than can chew, it instantly reminded me of when Joe DiMaggio was married to Marilyn Monroe. They were right. They were out of a balcony in New York, and all of her adoring fans were down there. And she turned to DiMaggio and said, "Have you ever heard? You know, have you ever seen this many people ever cheer your name?" And DiMaggio went, "Yeah, every day."
So true.
I've seen a picture of that as a meme about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. You know, there's all this brouhaha over her screwing up football or something. And they said, hey, you know, DiMaggio married Marilyn Monroe and it didn't hurt the Yankees any. You know?
Yeah, really. God. Oh, I'll make one other recommendation. I think I made it before, but I'll make it again. Since you're doing Niagara, 1953, Lessons in Chemistry, Apple TV, and have your wife watch it with you. I've read the book and I've seen the movie, and Brie Larson is the star. It's about a woman scientist in the 50s that can't get anywhere and becomes a TV star, but they do a really good job, and I think I think you guys would like it, and I think your wives will really like it, and it takes place in the 50s. So
like Dr. Joyce Brothers.
I love Dr. Joyce, kind of, but not taken seriously. She was a scientist and obviously not taken seriously. So, and that's what it's about, but it's good. You know, it's interesting, and it was a good book. That's why, and the movie, they did a good job.
A couple of Academy Award winners or nominees are now out, and that is Color Purple and the Christopher Nolan
Past
movie.
Past Lives is out.
Argyle.
Not an Academy Award movie.
Oh, it's not?
No, I'm talking about
maybe next year. It might got released too late.
Are you talking about nominees, Mike?
Right.
Nominees for Best Picture?
It was Mahoney. What's the American Prometheus movie?
American Fiction?
Oppenheimer.
No, about the nuclear bomb and
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah, Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer's out now on Peacock. We can watch it for free. If anyone hasn't seen it. I hadn't, and I thought it was fantastic.
Oh, it was.
But, and I thought Color Purple was good too. I had a hard time thinking you could make that into a musical, but they did.
Yeah.
They pulled it off.
And what's that on? Where can you get that?
Why?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because they made a boatload of money. That's why. Because Oprah put it on Broadway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
Why. They made a boatload of money putting it on Broadway, so then they did that. I know Oppenheimer is on Peacock. I'm not sure where Color Purple is. I think it might be on Max, but I'm not sure. You'd have to look, but it's out there.
Past Lives is on Netflix.
Yes.
And
have
that's the
seen that.
Korean one, and that's very good.
Because it won't be long
Poor
till the
thing.
Academy Awards.
Pardon me?
It won't be too long till it's the Academy Awards.
Yeah, I know. I got to
Yeah.
get these
Oh, you didn't
in.
even want to let me pet you.
I beg your pardon?
Well, the cat wants out, but she wouldn't even let me pet her a while ago. So
Oh.
fuck you.
I was back at the Follies again for a moment.
Okay,
Exactly.
Travis. Hey, Travis.
Donna, what's the movie you suggested? The woman in the wall?
Yes, The Woman in the Wall. Yeah.
Is that a series?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a series, and it's about the Magdalene the Magdalene laundries in Ireland. And it's the woman, the lead is the woman that played in The Affair, if you saw that, The Affair. No?
No.
Okay.
What about the laundries? What is that?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask. What's the?
I'm sorry. Since all you guys are Irish, I thought so. In Ireland, this is up until the 80s. Any woman that was pregnant, their family would disavow them and send them to these convents, basically. And they made, they were basically slaves. And then they took their babies and sold them. The Catholic Church sold the children. Now, and there's been a number of, I think there's a documentary out on it as well. But it's just a horrible time. I mean, these poor women, their family disavows them. They can't leave. They're literally imprisoned and working as they do laundry for the community. And the convent would get money to keep the girl, but the girls, of course, got no money. And they had to stay there. And then when they had their baby, the nuns, or whomever would say that the baby died or, whatever. And they would sell the babies. And it's a horrible thing. There was another movie out a few years ago called Vera. And that was a true story about a reporter that wants to help one of these women find her children. And that's what it's all about. It's about, these women get together and the trauma that it's taken on all of them. So it's called the Magdalene Laundries. And there's I think it was PBS that did a documentary on it as well. So it's not a good. Well, you know how nuns were. Pardon me. Uh-oh.
Bill started to say something, but I don't know what it was.
Oh no, I had a phone call come through.
Oh.
That's what that was. Well, okay.
Well, thanks, gang.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Good choice.
So should I be ready for next week, or do you think Jeff Arthur will be back, or is that how it works?
Yeah, I guess it would be Arthur would be next, and I don't know why he wasn't here, but let's. I'll find out. But I would say be prepared. Yeah,
I'll be prepared.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, you all. Good to
right,
see you again.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Good pick, Sanders.
Okay, thank you.